Hi, welcome to Astro Babble. I'm Donna from Donna B Astrology.
And I'm Lynda from Scullywag Astrology.
And today we are going to be talking about the eclipses that are coming up in the month of September.
Yes, we have a total lunar eclipse on the 7th or the 8th of September. And we have a partial solar eclipse on the 21st or 22nd. Donna and I were just looking at the map. Where I live in the part of the world, we're going to get just the little tiniest part of that eclipse shadow. So Donna and I have done videos about lunar eclipses and solar eclipses, so that will explain a lot of detail about, what makes an eclipse and all about them. And we'll put some links to that in the video. But I do have something here from our Bible when it comes to eclipses. Oh, that's not good. I've got a background and it's, yeah. Donna, can you put the Bible up?
I will put the Bible up. This is by Bernadette Brady. It's a predictive astrology, the Eagle and the Lark. And it was, I'm going to tell you, it was written a couple of years ago, because when you hear what just the description of eclipse, you're going to go like, wow, did she just write that? And like, nope. So it was written in 1992. So that's how long ago she had access to this information.
And I'm just going to read out a little bit from the book about how many degrees are, because eclipses are determined when there's a new moon or a full moon. A new moon can be a solar eclipse and a full moon can be a lunar eclipse, but it depends how close it is to the lunar node. And if you're interested in that, definitely check out those videos because we do explain that in a little bit more detail. But with solar eclipses, a new moon occurring within 18 degrees 31 minutes of the north or south node can be a partial solar eclipse. If it is within 15 degrees 21 minutes of either node, then it must be a partial solar eclipse. If the new moon is between 0 degrees and 9 degrees 55 minutes of either node, then it must be a total solar eclipse. If the new moon occurs between 9 degrees 55 minutes and 11 degrees 15 minutes of either node, then the eclipse can be either a total or partial. For lunar eclipses, the orbs are much smaller. If a full moon occurs within 12 degrees 15 minutes of either node, then a partial lunar eclipse can occur. If the full moon is within 9 degrees 30 minutes of either node, there must be a partial lunar eclipse. If the full moon is within 0 degrees to 3 degrees 45 minutes of either node, then it must be a total lunar eclipse. If the full moon is within the orbs of 3 degrees 45 minutes and 6 degrees 0 minutes of either node, the lunar eclipse can be either partial or total. But for this full moon, it will be total. So that will be really nice. That's where we get the blood moon, the red moon, and it's very, very spectacular. Just having a look, I might just share the screen and we'll have a look and see what time it is happening in Michigan. So it will be happening, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So you guys might actually kind of miss it. You know, you might see the moon up in the sky, I suppose, but you're not going to get that, really quite interesting phenomenon. Let me see what time it's going to be in Australia. See, 4 o'clock in the morning for us. So it could be worth getting up. It's going to be on a Monday on the 8th of September. So do I want to get up earlier, way earlier than usual next Monday? But, I have a feeling too, I saw something just in passing different articles and that, and I don't think they were necessarily astrological, that this full moon is going to be quite a long one too.
Yeah, I was thinking it was like over an hour and maybe 10 minutes or so. It's long. It's like,
Mm,
what do we see on the list? It's like 6:13 and stops at 7:30 something.
yeah, it could be interesting. So, so first off, we've got the lunar eclipse, and we have the total lunar eclipse chart here. So, what do you think, Donna?
Well, I like this lunar eclipse as we were talking earlier. The Jupiter is ruling the lunar eclipse. Jupiter is exalted while it's sitting in Cancer. It's and the eclipse, the moon is going to be in Pisces. So Jupiter is ruling it. So that should be very, very nice. And it's sitting right next to the North Node. So that should be another positive thing. So there are a few positive things with this. Unfortunately, Venus is not, can't add anything to it, but Jupiter is big enough to be able to hopefully support the goodness that we will be seeing with this lunar eclipse. Now, as we've said it before, lunar eclipses bring things in and out of your life. It's not necessarily just taking things away, it's bringing things in as well. So
Yeah,
hopefully there's some good vibes with this lunar eclipse.
I hope so. I think we could all use some good news, couldn't we? One way of thinking of eclipses is, like Donna said, they can eclipse things or people in or out of your life and that. But yeah, your lunar eclipse is like a full moon, but on steroids, and your solar eclipse is very similar to a new moon, which tends to be new beginnings and that. But we're talking about the lunar eclipse here. So for some people, it might not have much impact for you. It might be, you know, wherever the lunar eclipse is happening in your chart, it might be there's endings or culminations or high points to do with that. But if you have planets round about the middle of the mutable signs, so that is Pisces, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Gemini, you may feel the impact of this eclipse much more closely. The moon is going to
Yep.
trine Jupiter, and then the sun is going to sextile it, which is quite nice. And me and Donna were talking earlier. We'll just have a quick peek. What time did we say? The lunar eclipse is 2:08 p.m. in Detroit. So is that Eastern Standard Time? Or no, you're on daylight time at the moment, are you?
Yes,
Eastern
yes.
Daylight Time. And then later on at 8:24 p.m., that moon will move on to trine that Jupiter, which is nice. And it won't be until the 12th that the sun actually catches up and sextiles that Jupiter, the ruler of that eclipse. But what I really thought was rather interesting was we have Mercury will be very close to the sun at that time. It's just 3 minutes out of being what we call cazimi, if we use the Hellenistic cazimi. Cazimi is a word that means in the heart of the sun, when a planet is within 1 degree of the sun, or for medieval astrology, I think is it 16 or 17 minutes, Donna?
I'm not for sure. I think it's 17 minutes.
Yeah, but it's a lot closer for medievals. But basically, that planet is said to have the year of the king, and particularly with Mercury at this time in the sign of its exaltation and the sign that it rules, Virgo. And, you know, people quite often talk about when Mercury is cazimi, it's like inspired thought. So having this sextile of Sun, Mercury, sextile Jupiter, the ruler of the lunar eclipse 5 days earlier, I think it could be interesting. Maybe something stirred up with the eclipse may kind of have some, you know, really quite interesting aspects or inspired thought, or It should be very interesting. The fact that, you know, Mercury is in Virgo, where it's exalted in its own sign, almost cazimi. I think it could be very interesting.
For sure.
And we might have a look and see what it will mean for everybody for depending on what your ascendant sign is.
Sounds like a great idea.
Donna and I haven't done a podcast for a little while, so we're kind of getting back in the groove. And we recommend that you listen to your ascendant sign rather than your sun or moon sign, though you're obviously free to do whatever you want. But if you don't understand why people recommend that you read or listen to your ascendant sign, we've done a video about that too, and we'll put a link to that in the description.
Sounds great. So if the lunar eclipse is happening, if you're a Pisces rising, this is going to be happening in your first house. And like I said, it's with the North Node. It's also with Saturn there as well, which is a little restrictive. But this is, you know, things that are coming to fruition. It could be, I'm not so sure that this is a time where you would really expect to see like a doctorate come in, getting your, you know, working towards a goal and having it come to fruition. I'm not really sure for an eclipse you would necessarily see that, but it'll be happening in your first house, and that's things that have to do with yourself.
And with Jupiter in the fifth house, I wonder whether there might be a tie-in excitement, you know, to do with whatever fifth house topics.
Creativity outlets or that type of thing.
And if you are an Aquarius ascendant, this full moon lunar eclipse is happening in your second house, which is the house of your finances, your income, what supports you. As Donna mentioned, we have Saturn in the same house. It's just retrograded back into Pisces. So that could be putting a little bit of a dampener on finances and that. Maybe this Jupiter, what would you call it? Lunar eclipse, maybe that will bring to a head some things to do with that. There could be endings or high points or culminations. Maybe you've been working towards a bonus or, you know, saving up to get something. We have, as we spoke a little bit earlier, later on, that Sun is going to come up and sextile Jupiter, and that's in your eighth house of other people's money. So maybe banks, lending, you know, places, other people's money may somehow play some sort of significance. So it'll be interesting, but the sun and the moon at the time of this eclipse are happening over your second house of your money and eighth house of other people's money. So events could be happening over those two areas of your life. And with eclipses, it doesn't have to be on the day, you know, a month before, a month afterwards. Yeah. With eclipses, if it's kind of affecting you, you're usually kind of aware of it.
Yeah, and I want to mention with the ruler of this eclipse in the sixth house, it could have something to do with your health issues. So I wouldn't let anything slide. If you have an inkling that something might be up, get it checked out. That would be my 2 cents on that one.
Yeah, because I mean Jupiter's great and it's exalted here, it's in Cancer, but Jupiter is also associated with growth. And yeah, you certainly don't want something nasty growing.
And if Capricorn is your rising sign or ascendant, this lunar full moon eclipse will be happening in your third house. And this is the house where you might have, if you are a Capricorn rising, you might have a new car come in or out of your life. This is also the house of your the third house is your extended family, brothers and siblings and sisters and cousins and that type of thing. This is also early education. So if you have, you know, younger kids, you might be very much into the elementary school things that are coming in and out of your life. So this is definitely for this season of the year. I have a 11-year-old granddaughter, so she's starting all this new stuff.
And if you are a Sagittarius ascendant, this full moon lunar eclipse is happening in your fourth house. The fourth house is the house of our home and family, our parents in particular. It's also real estate matters and your general living situation. So lunar eclipses sometimes more associated with things leaving, because, full moons do tend to be about endings, but they can also be high points and culminations. So this could be, you've been looking for somewhere to live. You've put in a bid. You've been looking for a new place, either to rent or buy. It could be somebody moving out of the house, your parents, because it might not have anything to do with you. This is the house of your parents. So it could be your parents are selling up and, moving somewhere else. Maybe they're downsizing. So it could be very interesting.
And if you are a Scorpio rising, this lunar eclipse is going to be happening in your fifth house. And the fifth house are the things that you create. It could have something to do with your children, but it could also have something to do with, a hobby or what you do for fun. This is the house of the fun house. You have things that you can create. It could be art. It could be, building something that, especially with Saturn in there, this might be something that you're, and as we're trying to say, it's usually a full moon means that there's something coming to like an end or a fruition. It's like you've done the hard work. It's now time to reap the rewards. So this could be something that has something to do with that if you are a Scorpio rising.
And if you are a Libra rising or ascendant, this full moon is happening in your sixth house. We also have Saturn has just retrograded back into this house. It's the house of, amongst other things, illness, but it's also service to others. It is pets and, what else? Oh, those that serve society, like doctors, nurses, first responders, that sort of thing too. So it could be interesting. There could be a high point or a culmination. For some people, this could be graduating, some sort of graduation ceremony. It could be being accepted into a course to do with something like that. It could be maybe, hopefully, the ending of an illness. With Saturn coming back, retrograding back, it's a little bit, maybe it's not completely done, but maybe the worst is over, hopefully. Very interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking at the sixth house being involved with this lunar eclipse if you're Libra rising, and I'm seeing Jupiter right there in your 10th house. So if you have an eye for, trying to get a career as a first responder, this would be a time to, put your foot in the door.
That's a very good point. Yeah, very nice. Wouldn't that be cool if some people got that roundabout on that day, like an acceptance letter or something?
Yeah.
And if you are a Virgo ascendant, this full moon, have I missed something? This is yours, sorry.
No, you're fine. If you're a Virgo ascendant, this should be really good. You've got that Mercury and the Sun very, very close. So you're busy and your mind is going a lot. I'm talking about the lunar eclipse, and that's happening in your seventh house of the one other. So it's if somebody is writing down your name to meet you at a certain point, this is where those people reside in your chart. It's the one other, it's the one-on-one relationships. It could be a spouse, it could be a boss, it could be a friend, it could be a doctor, it could be a hairdresser. So these will be things that are happening in the house of the one other. This is things that are coming in and out of your life. So any relationships might have a little bit of a change, or you might add new ones. I'm thinking with that North Node there. That's where I'm getting that.
Yeah, it would be interesting for some people with Saturn coming back in, retrograding back in, whether there's was a serious relationship, but, for whatever reason you had to break up. But, I don't know, maybe this is a time when you call it quits. It's kind of hard to say because, full moons, they can be endings or they can be high points or culminations, and just with it being an eclipse. But this is more likely to be that sudden, shocking kind of, take you by surprise if you have those planets around about 15 degrees of those mutable signs. So Gemini, Sag, Mercury, and Pisces, rather than, if you've got nothing in those signs, or if they're very early or very late, you may not feel this much. It might just feel like a normal full moon, and, maybe you just, but yeah, with
And you were
that,
just saying,
with that Saturn coming
you're,
back at the same time, it's just
yeah.
kind of like a bit kind of weird. And with the solar eclipse, because, we always have a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse together, within 2 weeks sort of thing, that Saturn is very tied in with the upcoming solar eclipse. It kind of opposes it. And it's just interesting. So for Virgos, there could be people coming back, or maybe just, they came back and now they're gone for good, maybe, or maybe it's going to be, let's stop dilly-dallying and actually do something. Very interesting.
And you mentioned something shocking might happen, and I'm seeing that Uranus is right there on the midheaven, so impact it for sure in the 10th house.
Yes. Yeah. Something quite shocking. Could be very interesting. Oh, and look at that. And Uranus and Pluto are trine at the time too.
Yeah.
Oh, well, they will have just moved past their exact trine, but damn, that could be very interesting. If you are a Leo ascendant, this full moon lunar eclipse is happening in your 8th house. So 8th house is shared finances and resources. It's other people's money. That can be your partner's money. It can be joint finances. It can be taxation. It can be insurance. It can be lending, institutions, banks, etc. So you do also have, you've just had Saturn sneak back in there in Pisces, which is, I don't know how I feel about that. And as we were just saying with the previous one, Saturn's going to play a significant role in the next one, in the solar eclipse in a couple of weeks after this. So maybe there's something that needs to go back and be more grounded, or it's just interesting. But regardless, this eclipse is happening in your 8th house of other people's money, shared finances and resources, or in some cases, it may be just your partner's income and finances. It may have nothing to do with you. That can be a business partner or a romantic partner. But these, the sun and the moon are kind of shining a light on your 8th house of shared finances, but also the next eclipse is going to be in your house of your finances and your money. So those are the issues that are going to be significant over the next 2 weeks. But yes, there may be high points, culminations, or endings. So, maybe if you've been trying to hammer out an agreement with someone, maybe something will happen at this time. But with Saturn there and retrograde, it may be like pulling teeth. It may be a lot of hard work. Maybe this will be the culmination of all that hard work. But yeah, it will be interesting.
And if Cancer is your rising sign, this full moon lunar eclipse will be happening in your 9th house. And the 9th house is the house of higher education. It could be foreigners. It could be, far away places, far away from where you are. This isn't something where you get coffee. It also could have something to do with publishing or legal issues. So if if you're a Cancer sign in as an ascendant, the full moons and the new moons probably affect you more than they do the average person anyway. But for sure, this is going to be a little bit of things coming in and out of your life. They have to do with either law or publishing, foreigners, possibly, philosophy, how you think about the world, especially with Jupiter. I mean, Jupiter is that philosophical planet that wants you to think about the long term. So these might be things that were long term coming in and out of your life.
I was just thinking too with annual perfections. If you have a birthday this year and you are a multiple of 12, so 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, 72, the eclipses may be a little bit more significant for you this year. So,
yes.
And if you are a Gemini ascendant, this full moon lunar eclipse is happening in your 10th house. This is the house of your career and public reputation. So for whatever reason, there's a big spotlight on you at the moment, whether that's in the workplace or it could be your personal life too. There could be high points, culminations or endings. This could also be to do with authority figures. So you could have a boss at work that suddenly just leaves. It could be some big project at work you get attention for, or you complete a big project at work, or something that you've been working towards in your personal life, something you're known for, maybe coming to a head at this time. If you are, and because you're one of the mutable signs on your ascendant, so particularly if you have planets round about 15 degrees of Gemini, Sag, Pisces or Virgo, this may be quite significant for you. But if you don't have planets or, your ascendant or MC, IC, descendant, etc., on that round about those middle degrees, it may not be so significant. It may be just, there's a high point or an ending to do with these matters, but it may not be kind of like, complete shock, shock and awe. Because eclipses can be a little bit, they can really, they're just, something extraordinary or significant or,
And Uranus is in your first house. So I'm thinking there's, get used to shock and awe.
Yeah.
It could be a little bit not necessarily shocking, but doing things in a different way, seeing things in a different way. So especially with Pluto, they're aspecting it.
Yeah. Though, the ruler of this eclipse, Jupiter's in your second house of your personal income and finances. So it may work out that it's quite lucrative, hopefully. And if you are a Taurus ascendant, this is yours, Donna.
And if you're a Taurus ascendant, this lunar eclipse is going to be happening in your 11th house of groups and associations, as well as your hopes and dreams. Things will be coming in and out of your life in those arenas. The groups and associations, it could be you joined a volleyball game, or you're not going to do volleyball this year. You're going to do indoor basketball. It doesn't really matter. These are things that they're not necessarily life-changing, although they could be. But this is like, your groups and associations and your hopes and dreams and wishes. This is things are coming in and out of your life in those arenas.
And if you are an Aries ascendant, this full moon lunar eclipse is happening in your 12th house. The 12th house is the house of hidden and secret matters. It's places of seclusion and confinement. So that can be hospitals, prisons, or it can be retreats. It can be a spiritual retreat. It could be a monastery. It's also working behind the scenes, and it's places of like escapism, and It can include things like addictions, failings, escapism. So yeah, there's a full moon happening here. So for whatever reason, we've got a big spotlight on this part of your chart. You know, it could be you've been working behind the scenes on something and this is a time where it comes to a head. You know, you've finished the project. It could be all sorts of things. It could be ending a hospital stay. In particularly, we have, you know, the sixth house has the sun opposite this full moon. So you've got the sun and Mercury in the sixth house of illness. So for some people, this may involve, you know, hopefully, you know, being able to leave hospital. Or it could have something to do with addictions. You know, maybe you've been in recovery or rehab, and you know, maybe the time has come to, I wouldn't say graduate, I'm not sure what it would be, leave,
Be released.
yeah. And the same could apply for prison. You know, maybe you've been in prison or you've had to do community service or something like that. And, you know, maybe this is a time when that comes to an end. Or it could be a high point or a culmination, you know, or it could just be hidden and secret things, you know. Maybe something comes to light at this time because it is a full moon. It is shining that light. And, you know, for those with planets around about 15 degrees of the mutable signs, so Pisces, Virgo, Sag, and Gemini, maybe something comes to light because eclipses can be sudden and shocking. And if you have planets or personal chart points round about there, you know, it could
Yeah,
be.
I'm wondering about that. You know, as far as being able to see things more clearly, that Neptune is it's a partile sextile to Pluto and Uranus. So I think this whole eclipse, this whole lunar eclipse is going to have a flavor of you might not really see things very, very clearly.
That's a very good point. It's
And
going
it
to
could
be
be
very,
shocking and transformational with that Uranus and Pluto
mm,
flavor to it too.
very interesting. Yeah.
I, I think Jupiter's the only light point in that whole setup.
Yeah. Jupiter is quite strong, so that's something.
We can only hope. We can cross our fingers.
We can.
Come on, Jupiter.
What was I going to say? So yeah, it's quite interesting. We have that Jupiter ruling this lunar eclipse, and then the moon comes up and trines Jupiter, and then on the 12th, the sun will sextile Jupiter, and then on the 21st, which is the date of the solar eclipse, we have the sun come up and oppose Saturn. And we were talking about how that Saturn's kind of like had its finger in the pie. It was in the same sign as the lunar eclipse. So there may have been kind of stirrings, like it kind of made me feel a little bit uneasy. It's kind of like, yeah, what are you doing there, Saturn? But me and Saturn aren't exactly besties. But it's kind of like, what are you retrograding in here? What are you doing? And this is when we have the opposition. And yeah, this is kind of like the what do you call it? The midpoint of Saturn's retrograde period, when the sun opposes one of the superior planets. It's kind of during its retrograde phase, in about the middle of it. It will be interesting. Solar eclipses tend to be about new beginnings. So we have this lunar eclipse I think we have some enthusiasm with, you know, Jupiter in good condition ruling that lunar eclipse. We have the moon come up and trine it not long after, which is lovely, you know, buoyant, feeling good. 5 days later, on the 12th of September, we have the sun sextiling Jupiter, another really nice feel-good thing, with Mercury strong and almost cazimi, so we may have some great, brilliant ideas at that time, hopefully. But then on the 21st, just before the solar eclipse, we have this sun opposition to that retrograde Saturn. So I just kind of feel like maybe this is our moment of truth, or yeah. And then we have the solar eclipse. I think it's going to be really interesting.
I think you're right on that. Saturn with a retrograde, it's asking you to relook at some kind of structure or some kind of rules. It's asking you to relook at the Saturnian side of your life. So you might be readdressing certain things.
Yeah. Yeah, it will be very interesting. Do you want to talk about the Saros, or the Saros cycle that's associated with this
Yes, with the solar eclipse. Do you want me to read the description that Bernadette Brady has?
Yeah.
For it? Okay. Yeah, this is pretty interesting. A cycle for 9 South, and this has got the same flavor as this as the eclipse had in July 19th of 1917. So if you can remember back then, or anybody who was born around then would be very old. So this Saros series appears to be concerned with the bringing to the surface of long-term worries about loved ones, health, or issues to do with paperwork or communication. This could manifest as a worrying piece of news about a loved one or responsibilities with paperwork coming home to roost. Any news will have a sense of destiny or fatedness about it. And at the beginning of this, I said that this was written in 1992, so she had this information, and we have no idea. We're having this conversation right now. Lynda and I we're taping this just literally days after the CDC basically collapsed, with the head of the CDC leaving her position, and 4 other top doctors have left in protest. So, you know, communications, responsibility, paperwork coming home to roost. It's all of that, and how fitting it is for right now. So I wonder how this eclipse is really going to pan out. It can be worrisome. This is definitely changing times. And the solar eclipse, solar eclipses, like lunar eclipses, can bring things in and out of your life. So because it had a health issue, don't let things build up or manifest. If you have a little twinge, get it checked out.
Yeah, it's a fairly new Saros series. It, like Donna said, it only started in 1917. Some of these, because the Saros series, and we discussed this in the video we did about solar eclipses, they can run for about nearly 1,300 years. You know, they go from one pole to the other, and north or south refers to whether they started at the north or south pole. But with eclipses, they tend to have a linking to events of 18 years prior, because every 18 years and about 11 days, you have an eclipse in the same series. So you may find that events from 2007, 1989, 1971, 1953, 1935, or 1917, if we've got anybody that's that old, may be significant. If you do kind of think back what was happening in those years. You may get some indication of, what was happening. So,
And also the planets that were prominent in the 1917 eclipse were Mercury, Saturn, and Neptune. And look at, they are all pretty much opposing that eclipse.
Very interesting.
And Mercury's not, but it's within like grabbing distance. It can reach out and touch them.
Yeah, 29 degrees. It's also interesting too that this is like within a day or so of it will be your autumn. Well, it's the the autumn, or you call it the fall equinox, and spring equinox down in the southern hemisphere. So a time where we have equal amounts of day and night sort of thing. So very interesting. Unfortunately, the ruler of this solar eclipse, which is Mercury, will be in the sign of Libra by that time, which is right next to it, which means that it's what's said to be an inversion, so it kind of can't see it. It's like it's in its blind spot. So that's a little bit unfortunate too. And it is a south node eclipse, which tend to be not as nice. They tend to be a little bit more challenging. And from that description that Donna read out, it's not a joyful description. Some of them are quite nice, and sound quite hopeful. This one sounds a little bit more worrying in general. So close to that fall equinox, and, so soon afterwards it's going to oppose that Neptune, which is all, fog and shrouded in mystery, and
Not a day you want to sign contract.
Recently had that opposition with Saturn, retrograde Saturn. So interesting. But don't kind of think, oh my God, everything's gonna, the sky's falling. Sometimes you look at the astrology weather and you think, this sounds horrible, and you can have a great time. Your chart might be fine. Other times you think, oh, this is going to be fantastic, and nope. And then you look at your own chart and go, oh, that's why.
Yeah, it depends on which time lord is actually ruling for the individual person, because we can't start kindergarten, get married, drive a car, graduate from college, and have a baby and get married all in the same day. It depends on who's ruling, who's got the mic, who's speaking the loudest. So that's our bit of comfort, is if you don't have anything that's affecting that, it's probably not going to affect you very deeply.
At least we have Venus in the same sign as this solar eclipse, but I mean, they're 27 degrees away, and Venus isn't awfully strong in this sign. She's in fall in Virgo, but it's better than nothing.
And Jupiter can still buy house is sextiling that too as well.
Yeah. But
it's our stationing.
They're going to move from that solar eclipse to that opposition with Neptune, and then they're going to trine Pluto and Uranus. That's going to be very interesting. If you can see the screen, there's a kite. This is a kite formation. You've got the grand trine, which is the 3 trines, and then you've got the sextiles here. Will be interesting.
Yeah, I was noticing that. That's where I was like, okay, so so with Neptune in there, it just kind of means that with Neptune and Saturn together, it could be a different modality of artistic work that you might decide. Our Neptune to me is an artistic planet along with Venus. So it can bring that other side of life that maybe isn't so harsh, like Saturn is one of those harsher planets. It's the dad over your shoulder, did you do this? Did you do that? So maybe Neptune might soften all of that a little bit, but really be concerned about if you're hearing things correctly. And with this AI, gosh,
Oh,
that's,
yeah,
huge.
exactly. Um, we were talking about how for the lunar eclipse, if you had planets at about the middle of the so it's about 15 degrees of the mutable signs, that it was more likely to affect you. For this one, it's going to be if you have planets at the very late degrees of the mutable signs. So that is Virgo, Pisces, Sagittarius, and Gemini, but also those with planets at the very early degrees of the cardinal signs. So Aries, Libra, Cancer, and Capricorn might feel this a little bit too, because it's so close to the end of this sign. So, yeah, just to mix things up a little bit. Well, shall we see what we see for these signs?
So if you are a Virgo rising, this solar eclipse is going to be happening in your first house, and it is right with the south node, which means there's a likely chance that things are more going to be, you're going to be needing to get rid of things. You can't bring new things into your house until you get rid of the old things. So think of the south node as that. You can't bring in the new stuff until the old stuff leaves. And this might be like eclipsing things in and out of your life. The first house of Virgo, and Mercury can't see it or help it at all. So that is a little bit of a problem. You do have Venus in there, so that's going to give you some niceties.
Yeah, I was just thinking we didn't look at where this eclipse is actually visible too. We might do that after this, but for most the northern hemisphere, they're not going to see it. It's mainly down below. It's just on the very east coast of Australia, but some of the islands in the Pacific will maybe see it. And it's not a total eclipse either. This is a partial eclipse. And I mean, 18 to 29, what's that? 10 and a half, 10 degrees, 30 minutes or something. That's quite wide. So this might not be as, shocking as a total solar eclipse can be. And again, you need to have either the very end of the mutable signs or the very beginning of the cardinal signs for this to probably have a full impact on you. If you are a Leo ascendant, this new moon solar eclipse is happening in your second house. This is happening in your house of your resources, your income and finances, what supports you. With Venus there, could be a little bit of sweetness, hopefully. But there is that opposition that this solar eclipse would have had with retrograde Saturn in your eighth house of other people's money, including banks, lending institutions, taxation, and all that. So for some, maybe this will be a surprise, like, oh, haven't paid that bill, or, didn't file that tax return. But yeah, the if this is acting more as a new moon rather than a shocking solar eclipse for you, this may be new beginnings, starts to do with those matters. So it could maybe require you to have a new budget, or it could be, a new form of income. Maybe you take on a side hustle, or maybe there's a new job. Maybe, but yeah, something happening in your second house to do with your income, finances, and resources. And with that north node there, I'm not north node, the south node, as Donna was saying, it tends to decrease. So yeah, this is probably more likely to be, you need to sit down and kind of draw up a budget then. Woohoo! But there is Venus there, and Venus, where she is, does tend to bring a little bit of sweetness. So, it shouldn't be all doom and gloom, but yeah, there could be a bit of a shake up in that area.
And if you're a Cancer rising, like I said before, chances are these eclipses really impact you. Um, but this is going to be happening. This solar eclipse is going to be happening in your third house. And the third house is the house of your brothers and sisters, your cousins, your extended family, as well as, your community, the community that you know, the community that you drive in. If you were asked to go get coffee, you know exactly what streets to go to get it. It's the third house is all about the early education in your community. So this will be things that are coming, probably are coming to an end, and it's not going to have a lot of strength. Those new moons don't have a lot of strength with them. So hopefully this will play out that same way. But Saturn's right there to make sure that you're following those rules.
If you are a Gemini ascendant, this new moon solar eclipse is happening in your fourth house. The fourth house is to do with your home and family, most particularly your parents, it's your living situation and real estate matters. So there could be new beginnings, new starts to do with this. It could be something a little bit surprising or shocking to do with these matters, or it may have nothing to do with you. It may be more to do with your parents. Maybe there's some surprising news from them. In a case like that, it could be somebody downsizing, selling up the family home, downsizing. That would fit with the south node in that house. Home, family, real estate matters. If you're selling at this time, maybe you won't get exactly how much you wanted with the south node there, but more likely to impact you on that sort of scene if you have planets round about those degrees. For others, this is just like a normal new moon. So new starts, new beginning. Could be somebody new moving into the house or the home. So there you go.
And if you're a Taurus rising, this new moon eclipse, solar eclipse, is going to be happening in your fifth house. Now, this is the fifth house of creativity. It could also have to do with your kids or what you do for fun. So you might decide to get rid of the volleyball and join a basketball team. I think I said the same thing earlier, but this is something that you're getting rid of. The South Node is something the South Node are things that you're getting rid of. So that's how that might work out if you're a Taurus rising.
And if you are an Aries ascendant, this new moon solar eclipse is happening in your sixth house. The sixth house is the house of service to others. So that can include those that serve our communities, like doctors, nurses, first responders. It includes pets, and it's also the house of illness. So this could be new beginnings, new starts to do with those matters. It does have the south node, south node there. So for some, unfortunately, maybe a pet could be leaving at this time, whether that's they pass or, run away. I'm just looking at that Saturn in the 12th house. This is the house of illness and that. So if you have planets at the very end of the mutable signs or the very beginning of the cardinal signs, regardless of, where the planets are, if there's something that's niggling you with your health, I think it's always a good idea to get that checked. But with the south node here, maybe there could be a loss of some type. For others, this could be just, like I said, new beginnings. You could be starting a career, professions that serve the community. This could be, the beginning of a journey. Maybe you're taking on a new step on the ladder with regards to that. It could be a new pet too. I know I spoke about the loss of a pet simply because we do have eclipses here, and eclipses do tend to be a little bit shocking, and we do have the south node there, which does tend to be about decrease. But, for others, this could be a new pet. And, for some, that could be losing a pet and replacing a pet. So, We do have Venus here, so that does sweeten things a little bit. But yeah, health matters may be quite worrying. Saturn in the 12th house could be that anxiety and worry too.
And if Pisces is your rising sign, this solar eclipse new moon is going to be happening in your seventh house, in the house of the one other. This could be that you are maybe changing your business with a business partner. You might be getting rid of one business partner and gaining another one. This is definitely with the South Node, there is a decrease. This could be just getting rid of something that allows you room for another thing in your house of the one other.
If you are an Aquarius ascendant, this new moon solar eclipse is happening in your 8th house. The 8th house is the house of shared finances and resources. So this can be finances and possessions of you and a partner, whether that's a business or a romantic partner. It can be a partner's money, may have nothing to do with you, or it could be other people's money, which can include things like banks, lending institutions, taxation, insurances, etc. So there may be some new beginning here, and with the South Node there, it may not be as advantageous as you would like, or it may not be as equal as you like. With the South Node, it can be about decrease. You do have Venus also in the same house, so hopefully that will sweeten matters a little bit. If you do have planets round about the very beginning of the cardinal signs or the very end of the mutable signs, this is more likely to impact you more than others. You've had Saturn retrograde in your 2nd house of your personal finances and possession. So this may be something that's cropped up, kind of come back to cause some issues, because it had moved, Saturn had moved into your 3rd house, but now it's come back to say, hey, remember me? So this could be an unexpected bill or expenses. So maybe there's some need to deal with banks or taxation or shared finances and resources. But with that South Node, it may not be as helpful as you would like, but hopefully it's still helpful.
And if you are a Capricorn rising, this solar eclipse and a new moon is going to be happening in your 9th house. And the 9th house is the house of the foreigners or faraway places. This could also be publishing, the law, the esoteric subjects like astrology or philosophy, or the spiritual aspects of your life as well. This will be things that are either starting new. I mean, you might need to get rid of some things in order to make room for these things. So definitely exciting. But, as I said before, that Neptune's right across from it. So you might have to really make sure that you're clear on the details before you commit to anything long term.
I was just noticing that Mars at 29 degrees Libra as well. So that Mars is just about to leave a position, it's in inversion at the time of the eclipse, but it's just about to leave a sign where it's in detriment and go into a sign where it's very strong. So get up and go, hopefully. If you are a Sagittarius ascendant, this new moon solar eclipse is happening in your 10th house of career and public reputation. So this could be new beginnings or new starts to do with work. It could be something to do with your public reputation. It does have the South Node there, so maybe there's promotion at work, but maybe it's not as good, or maybe you need to relinquish something to kind of accept that. Maybe you're leaving one job that may have been perhaps a little bit more prestigious or financially lucrative to go to another. It could also be bosses and authority figures. Maybe there's a new boss. Maybe they're not as good as the old boss. That would be a pain. You do have Venus in the 10th house as well, so that's good. That does help. Wherever Venus and Jupiter are, usually bring a little bit of relief or joy or sweetness. So Saturn has recently gone back into your 4th house, so there may be concerns to do with parents or your home and living situation or real estate matters. Busy, but I mean, after this eclipse, it's all going to move into the 11th house after this. You know, this eclipse is at the very end degrees of the sign too, so it's quite interesting. And with Mars about to move into a sign of more power after we've had that depressing Saturn opposition, it's good to kind of get that Mars, I think, moving into a sign where it's stronger and it can actually do something, but it needs to be emotionally motivated, I think, in Scorpio.
And if you are a Scorpio rising, this new moon solar eclipse is going to be happening in your 11th house. The 11th house is your house where you can see the themes of groups and associations as well as your hopes and dreams. So you might be having new things. You might go, you know what, I wanted to have purple sheets and I'm going to throw those away. I want blue sheets now. So this could be, you know, something that if you've always wanted whatever, this could be a time where you get rid of the stuff that's holding you back and move it out, and so that you can bring in the new things. So if you are a Scorpio rising, that's what you can look forward to.
I like that. Get rid of what was holding you back. Very positive spin on that. Really interesting too that it would have just the sun and the moon opposing that retrograde Saturn just beforehand. Very interesting. Yeah, maybe a time, but it is so difficult with that Neptune also blurring everything and making everything hard to see. And
Yeah.
It's, yeah, I think good advice around the eclipses in general, regardless of what solar or lunar eclipse it is if you don't have to make a big decision, I wouldn't recommend it. Just, you know, wait and see.
A bit of caution, a bit of caution.
But yeah, I really do like that. Get rid of what's not working. Yeah. And, you know, Saturn's kind of that opposition there, you know. Yeah. Get down to basics. Yeah. I like it. And if you are a Libra ascendant, this new moon solar eclipse is happening in your 12th house. The 12th house is the house of our undoing. It is escapism, it's addictions, it's places of confinement like prisons and hospitals, but it's also places of spiritual retreat. It can be working behind the scenes. It can be hidden and secret matters, which don't necessarily need to be nefarious. So, yeah, we've got new beginnings or new starts here. There may be some shocking surprises for some if you do have planets round about the end of the mutables or the beginning of the cardinal signs. You've had Saturn retrograde back into your 6th house of ill health. So for some people, you know, this could be, you know, a sudden admission to hospital for something, you know. I've got to try and not be so negative, but this solar eclipse just kind of makes me a bit, yeah. And I mean, as Donna was reading out that description from Bernadette Brady's book, hearing sudden news of somebody's a loved one's health, you know, I think that's, you know, going to be quite timely for some. And with Neptune there, Neptune's currently in the 7th house of Libra ascendants, if we're using whole signs, which we are. But it's blurring the boundaries. You know, it's like, well, what is the problem? You know, it can be, it's hard to see what's happening when Neptune's in the picture. Yeah, we do have Venus there, so that's sweetening things a little bit. But we also have that south node there, which is about decrease. So, you know, for some, this will be sudden admission to hospital and they remove something. Not everybody's going to have that. For some, it's just maybe you've decided to, do some work behind the scenes. It will be interesting though.
Most definitely will be.
I just want to.
I know in mundane astrology, when those nodes are stationing, that's when you can get a lot of the shakeups, the earthquakes and volcanoes and stuff like that. So, who can see this solar eclipse?
Yes, I was just thinking that. This is from timeanddate.com, which is a fantastic resource for all these sorts of things. You can go and look up solar eclipses and lunar eclipses and everything, and they actually tell you where the lunar eclipse is. So that is 7th and 8th of September. Oh, that's the lunar eclipse. Oh, sorry. So these are the places where the lunar eclipse will be visible. So you can see Australia can see it, and Europe, and some of Africa. We've got the Americas over here. They don't see it because, it's happening in the middle of your afternoon. The solar eclipse, the 21st of September, will be visible south in Australia, the Pacific, Atlantic, and Antarctica. So just a very small area that will be visible. Let me just zoom out. Where is the legend? But yeah, this is a great site for seeing where it will be visible. You can see the darker it is, the more visible it is. So like that's Antarctica. And it is a partial solar eclipse. But this is Australia here. I personally live in Brisbane on the east coast here. And you can see we're not going to see much of anything because it's a partial eclipse and we're on the very, very edge of it. So
if you drive south,
even then, I doubt we'll see much. We're on the very, very edges of it. So, but New Zealand will see a little bit of it from how much? Like I said, it's a partial, so I don't think they'll see much, but they're certainly a lot more in it than we are, and Antarctica. Because some people, the ancients kind of believed that you kind of had it was more impactful if the eclipse was visible in your wherever you were. So, but yes, very and because this is a very new eclipse too. It was it new south?
yes.
Yeah. So that means it started at the South Pole. So, it starts here and the eclipses are going to, move up further as they go along over their nearly 1300 history from south to north. So, yeah. So interesting.
Very interesting.
And what have you been
So, Lynda, I was just going to ask you the same thing. How have you been and what are you up to? Do you have any services that you're offering?
Not at the moment. No, I've been very slack. I do need to get back to my website and do some articles. But yeah, nothing on the books at the moment that I can open. So I'm just, What about you, Donna? What are you up to?
Well, I can't list everything that I'm up to, but I have been busy. I took a star class and learned all about the fixed stars. But for offerings, I am offering natal readings. I've got things to do, and I also work with crystals and other modalities for healing support. So you can contact me through my website and Facebook. I also have a Facebook page, Donna B Astrology Facebook page. So if you want to check that out, you are welcome to. And you can get a hold of me on Facebook or email me. So those are the two ways, and those are the things that I do offer.
Yeah, and those places should all be in the description. I was going to say too, I see you put up
Yeah.
a video about crystals,
I
like within the
did,
last
I,
day. I haven't had a chance to
I,
watch it, but I'm sure it's very good and I will watch it. And that's something we might put a link to in the description as well.
well, thank you. Yes, it's under Donna Donna B ACM for Advanced Crystal Master, and it tells you exactly why it's an Advanced Crystal Master, everything that I do with that. It's a very interesting diversion from astrology, but yet they're very much hand in hand. I mean, you can see a lot through a chart. I've taken medical astrology, so I understand that, where your illnesses tend to crop up and what's really bothering you now. And it's very interesting. And if you know astrology, it's one of those ways of mitigating challenging aspects. So that's kind of why I did it. Why I got into it.
Mm. I was when you were talking about doing a course on the fixed stars, that could be interesting. It's been we haven't done many videos, mainly because of me, but Donna has been very, very busy doing a lot of learning as well. But yeah, maybe that's something we could look at. I would really like to maybe look at some charts with some fixed stars. I always kind of find Algol very interesting. And I'm interested to see because it's to do with Medusa and losing your head. I'm interested to see how that ties in with someone like, say, Isadora Duncan, who was famously strangled by her scarf in the spokes of a wheel of a car. Excuse me. People like Marie Antoinette. And it'd be interesting to see how that focuses on some charts. I know I was looking at that at one stage, and it could be very interesting looking at some natal charts of famous people and where the fixed stars are for them, and if it had any close correspondence to their life. That would be interesting.
Yes, I think that it's very interesting just to be able to go outside and actually see, okay, well, if the sun's here and the moon's there, then I know that, so and so is there. And you can almost like read the sky if you know where the moon is. And I do a blog every Monday,
Mm-hmm.
on where the moon is. And if you know where the moon is, you know what planets the moon is going through, if you know the chart. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I do it. I think the moon gives us, spoon feeds us the energies of the other planets, and that's why I think the moon is so important.
Yeah.
So yeah, and so if you read that, you at least can understand what's going on when you walk outside.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still, because like what is it, Orion, like that's my favorite constellation. I love Orion, and I'm still pretty miffed that the times I've been in the US I haven't seen him, because it's been the wrong time of year. Yeah, because apparently he's upside down here, or maybe he's right side up down here and it's upside down up there. I don't know. But yes, I'm pretty miffed that I never got to see Orion in the northern hemisphere.
Well, you'll have to come and visit us.
I might.
We'll find out when Orion is going to be out.
Yeah, I've always been there wrong time of year. But yeah, it's really interesting. And I always think it's fascinating that, like, from our perspective, the moon grows differently. Like yours grows, I think, left to right now. Or maybe yours grows right to left and ours grows left to right. It's just the perspective.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And that while we've got the same sun and moon and stars and that, like there's some down here, like I don't think you get the Southern Cross up there, and there's planets up there, not planets, stars up there that we can't see. So that would be very interesting too. Interesting with fixed stars, like we were saying about the eclipses, it's more powerful if you can actually, if you're in the path of the eclipse. Whereas I wonder if that applies for fixed stars. Like if it's not visible in the southern hemisphere, that would be really interesting to see if we did go look at famous people and who had close conjunctions to natal planets or chart points with, fixed stars, and like, just say you had somebody in the southern hemisphere, but like it wasn't visible from where they were born, whether that wasn't as impactful as, say, somebody where it was. I'm showing my Mercury and Pisces. Mind you, it is nearly 1:30 in the morning here. And that's another thing that has been causing, it makes it hard sometimes to kind of meet up to do these videos. But it's always enjoyable talking with you, Donna. And yeah.
Likewise.
Mm-hmm.
Good to see you.
Yes, you
Hopefully
too.
we will get back to doing another video quite soon.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of the fixed stars one. That could be very interesting. And I really do want to do more about Antisha and Contratisha too. I think that could be very interesting. Anyway, thank you for listening. I hope this is helpful for you. Hope we didn't scare you too much. It did sound a little bit doom and gloom, but that lunar eclipse we have first, it does have that connection with that Jupiter, which is quite strong. And then you do have the Mercury Cazimi, which should bring up some hopefully good ideas in that. But then we've got the Saturn and Neptune and all that sort of stuff. So,
And things you can get rid of.
Yes,
And
I really like that.
in Virgo, that's going to give you, I mean, Virgo is what you do every day, right? And so it's like, okay, well, we have to clean out our closet before we can buy new clothes. It's the same kind of Virgo stuff.
Some of us are resistant. It's so funny. The sun moved into Virgo, and I was thinking, I need to clean my room out. I need to go through my wardrobe. I need to do this. And I haven't done it. But I
have a few more days.
I thought about it. But it's quite funny. Like you were talking about the moon, and, just certain things, certain times. The moon's in, a certain house. Like, when the moon's in Taurus, it's in my 5th house. It's in Donna's 1st house, when and that's kind of a chill, it's a lovely time for the moon because the moon's exalted there. But, when the moon's in Aries, we might be a little bit more emotionally charged. And that's happening in Donna's 12th house, and that will be happening in my 4th house. So I'm possibly a bit more charged up in the home and with my parents and, close family. And whereas Donna might be, she might be just charged up behind the scenes, it's just interesting. That's something we could do too. I think that would be really helpful doing about the moon, when the moon's in Aries and you're an Aries ascendant, Taurus ascendant, Gemini ascendant, all that sort of stuff. But yes, we have all these great ideas, but we've got to find time.
We do. So if you liked this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We would appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.